Okay, so I don't think you need an introduction. I'm
Good.
pretty sure everyone knows who you are.
I don't want to give one.
Yeah. I'm the dark god. There we go. Yeah.
No, that's my new shit.
Yeah. That's good. All right, so we're going to get right into it just so we keep it productive and quick. But me and Chris, the guy behind the camera, we came up with some good questions, or what we think are good questions.
All right.
And the number one question, maybe it's an easy question, maybe it's not. What makes a skill building game productive? Like, how do you know you're like, this was a productive practice or even just a productive segment of practice?
The first word that comes to mind is clarity.
Okay.
Right? So if the student knows what they're trying to do, this sets the intention.
Okay.
So that makes the game good. Clear, intended goal, intended action, intended task, really sets the student off. The second thing is if the practice is designed in such a way that there are opportunities for action. Not only do you want it to be clear, but you want it to be available.
Okay.
Does the student have the opportunity to do the things that you ask them to do? And are they connected? Are the things you ask and the opportunities available at the same time? You got a good game.
That's really, that was precise. That was really good. Yeah, I don't have any more questions to follow up with that. So the next thing was, I've been having so much fun here. What is the difference between a finite and continuous game? I don't even know these terms. You told me these terms.
Don't even worry. So basically, finite is not the word we use. We use a terminal. So I've discussed this before on camera and stuff, but basically terminal just means there's an end point. So we have a game, we have a task set out or a situation set out where if one player fulfills the condition, reaches the outcome, performs the task, the game is over, and then maybe we start again or we change from top to bottom, giving the other player a turn. A continuous game is one that goes continuously for one player or both, and there's something to do, but it doesn't stop the engagement. It's just a condition that must be fulfilled continuously or fulfilled repeatedly.
Okay, so an example, even without showing anything. Let's say we're talking about, because I'm a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a terminal game. Partner, you have to connect 2 hands to a leg. That's it. Keeping it that simple.
Yep.
And then a continuous game would be like, partner, you're trying to get your head to the side of your partner's neck. Like in wrestling, it's all about head position, right?
Right.
So both partners, can it be both people, or does it have, for like the continuous game, can it be both players doing the game together, or it has to be player A, you're doing the continuous game? No, both.
Does not have to be both continuous. One could have a terminal condition, one could have a continuous, or both could have a continuous.
Right. So if, let's say me and you were playing, let's say if I was making a game, I'd say both of us, we both have the goal of getting an angle and getting to the side of our partner's neck, essentially. Yep. That would be a good continuous game. We could just keep going. For sure.
There'd be probably lots of change in who has the position, but that's what it's designed for, right?
Right.
So my job is to create that angle and hold it for as long as I can. That gives me, that the task is clear, and it gives me an opportunity to perform that action under a continuous engagement. But it also creates an opportunity for the other player to change the position and gain the thing that they want. And so they both are now fighting over the same thing. So I think that's a good continuous game.
Okay, cool. And could I scale the game? Could I be like, can you mix continuous with a terminal game? Like, partner, both guys, you're trying to get head position. And then once you achieve head position, could I say after you've achieved head position, your goal is to get 2 hands to the leg? Is that possible?
Sure, yeah. So you could say, like, you have a precondition. So you need your head to hit one of these targets, and once your head hits that target, you can attempt the legs. If your head is not touching one of those targets, you can't. So basically, that's the condition that must be fulfilled before the terminal outcome can be attempted.
Ooh, okay.
Or you could say one person's working solely on head and hand position, but no matter what, they can't back away. They're trying to keep their head and hands connected to the body at all times, and the other player could be trying to remove the head and hands and get to a leg. But the only way the other player can defend is simply with head and hand positioning.
Oh, dang. That's simple. That's
easy stuff.
That's not crazy. Okay, yeah. That makes it so. Okay, so terminal, essentially, for me, I'm a dum-dum, is like you have like one very clear goal. Like, and if you get to it, that's a win.
Yep.
And then continuous, either one or both players have some preset goal, but it never actually stops. It's just with the head position thing, that's like a very simple, easy one. It's like, if I get here, my partner's also going to be doing things to prevent that, and themselves, they'll also be trying to do it too.
Correct. Yep.
If we're doing that way. But we could also do one where one person is doing the continuous action, which would be, in this case, getting head position, And then the other partner's goal is just preventing the head. He himself doesn't have to actually fight for head position, but he's just hand fighting, preventing the partner from getting to the.
But he would want a terminal condition. So he would want.
Okay, so he has to have a. Okay, so therefore, I would be looking for head position. You would be looking to connect two hands to a leg.
Yeah,
we could do that. Okay,
for sure.
And I would just continue to fight head position, use my hands to prevent you from achieving your goal.
For sure.
While also looking for my goal. Your goal isn't necessarily head position, but your goal is to just connect your hands to the leg, which that's terminal, and mine is continuous.
Correct.
Okay, that's simple.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about why that's a good game too, because there's actually a lot there, and it's really how we start to think about how we want to design a game. So you hear this in the high-level wrestling, or even wrestling in general. Your first lines of defense are your head and hands. So they perform they are a defensive structure. So by giving them the continuous game of head and hands, you're allowing them the opportunity to use that as a defensive structure because your partner's trying to grab your legs. So if you're trying to learn how effective having your head and hands are in the way are, then you would do that against somebody trying to grab you. And it would show you, hey, this effectively prevents that.
Yeah.
And then it shows the other player, if I can't get rid of that, I can't go get my hands connected. So, it allows that natural relationship that happens in wrestling to be taught or exposed to the student just through that game.
It's good because I really struggle to teach hand fighting in general. And I was talking to Heath actually recently, and I was like, man, one of the things I struggle with at seminars, I think one of the most important things with wrestling is hand fighting. Because no matter what takedown you like, it doesn't matter, right? Because depending on our size, build, or just what we like to do, I don't ever believe there's no such thing as the best takedown, right? I get asked that question so much. I hate that question. But no matter how good you are at takedowns, one thing that definitely doesn't change is you have to have the ability to do some level of hand fighting, which to me is getting angles, getting past the head and hands. That's simply what hand fighting is.
Sure.
But I don't know, it's hard to teach that because you can't just, and from my opinion, you can't just drill hand fighting. Like you can make it up and be like, all right, club, underhook, push, pull, fake. Yeah, it looks, but it's not real.
Right, correct.
Right. And so I struggle to teach people like, how do you develop fluidity in hand fighting without overthinking and trying to think it's like this A, then B, then C, because it's just not real.
For sure. Well, if you change the way you think about learning, you change what would be difficult. So if we imagine learning as things that needed to be remembered versus things that need to be experienced, it would change it, right? Mm-hmm. So if I had to remember it, I would have to remember every little angle, every little thing. That's too much. But with a new learner, they need to experience hand fighting and the effects it creates and the functions it has. So an example would be something like inside position. You could teach hand fighting and a concept like inside position at the same time by using the CLA. So one player would be to get the hands on the inside. The other player is trying to get their hands on the inside. So now they have a reason to hand fight. And that teaches us something basic about it, which would be, if I can get my hands in the middle, I gain some type of advantage.
Right.
And having that experience is how you actually teach it.
Yeah, that's really good. And then like in that example, would it matter if you're, in order to, I guess, attack your condition or I guess win, or would that be continuous, right? If we're both just looking for inside position constantly, that could be continuous.
Right.
Would a terminal version be like if you get like something like an underhook, which is kind of like a more like definite inside position, which is much harder to clear than.
For sure.
Right. So I guess partner one, you have to grab your partner's shoulders. Yep. Essentially, right? That's all an underhook is, right? You're just grabbing a shoulder. Okay, that's a win. And it's very hard to do, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But if you gamified it, I could just say both players are just trying to grab a shoulder. That's a terminal game for both guys because there's a very clear win condition. But then I could also do player A, you have a terminal game, which is you should get an underhook or grab a shoulder to just grab a shoulder. Player B, your goal is now terminal, which would be just trying to find head position and just continuous. Sorry, yeah. So continuous would be, I would be trying to get inside position and get head position, right? We talked about head to this point. Your goal would be to grab the shoulder,
right?
But so now one of us is doing continuous, right? And then one of us would be doing terminal.
Perfect.
I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could do both. Like,
yeah.
I had no idea. I was just very, very confused.
For sure.
No, I know.
Oh, it's all right, man. Yeah, we should use those terms to kind of just catalog a game. Like, this is the way we can act, and this is why we're doing it. This is the way we can act, and this is why we're doing it. And we can mix and match as we see.
I like it. It's like I have a seminar next week, and I'm going to do like an hour of just trying to find out a way to do these effectively and simply.
Well, I can give you some, brother. I can make it easy for you. I'll just give you a few you can mess with, and then you can take them out and put them out in the wild and see how they go.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'll get to the next question before we get to the other stuff. It's like, so we talked about continuous and terminal. Is there another type, or is it always just continuous or terminal games?
I mean, the language we use here is pretty much like either for us, I mean, other people might have different language to describe how they use CLA, but for here in our room, in the sport of grappling, we consider engagements ending at one point or staying active at one point. So for us, these are the only two terms we use.
That's so simple. That's so easy to follow up. Yeah. Also, I was telling Chris, I was like, lots of people get overwhelmed because on podcasts, you do a good job of being very precise because words matter. Like I always say this, it's like one of my favorite sayings is like words matter. But I always tell people, I've had so many people message and I'm like, dude, Greg makes it so simple here. I've had so much fun. It's like, I always say I'm not the smartest guy. I went to college, I got a degree, but we all know that doesn't mean shit. But for me, like actually the practical application being here, and I've only saw it for a couple of days, right? So it's nothing compared to DeAndre or something. But I was like, the practical application is so simple. I feel like we're in and we're out, and I feel effective.
For sure.
That was my biggest reflection. Is like, this is effective.
Yeah,
this is super effective. So it's like, I think one of people's biggest critiques is they're like, oh, well, Greg just says these big words, and I'm like, here's the thing. If Greg, I say this to people, if you're not precise, someone will do a gotcha, right? They'll be like, well, I'm gonna gotcha, right?
Yeah.
But then if they actually came and see here, you're very simple. You make it very, very simple for students. Like we've really not even talked about the process since I've been here, which most people know. Like I hated Greg for like 2 seconds because I was very emotional. I was very emotional, right? Like because we get emotional, we get defensive and stuff. And I was like, and my biggest problem was at first I was like, oh fuck, this guy just thinks he knows everything. But I think it's a misconception. I think it's been one of the best parts of my experience. I'm sure Chris's experience too. It's like, oh, okay, this is actually easy to follow. And now I'm like, I was telling my coach, I was like, man, I wish I could just do this every day. It's so much better for me than I don't really know what you call it, traditional drilling, because I really don't drill. I don't know if I told you this, but I don't. I just come into class. I do situational rolling. I do fake CLA.
No, see, the thing is, situational rolling is not like fake CLA. It's just that it's just what you're feeling that day. You know what I mean?
That's it.
That's okay. I mean, that's like better than drilling, but it's still live.
Yes. Oh, that brings me to this. So this was great. So situational rolling versus CLA, like very, very different things. And I realized this even with yesterday with me and Brian. It's like if someone came in here and actually knew what we were doing and they said that it was situational, I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like because it was completely. I've never done something like that ever. Like. I don't know if you can explain kind of what we were doing. It was like started on our backs, and I'm sure you can explain.
Yeah, let me explain a little bit. So as I watched you roll, I realized you had good positioning with your legs, right? You were using your frames well, you were using your knees well, but I realized your feet weren't doing much. And so that's, I think, why you're having a hard time carrying weight. So we designed a game where your focus was to keep your hooks or the tops of your feet hooked onto your partner, and your job was to pull them to their hands. And so what this did was it gave you an opportunity to actually use the function of a hook, which one would be to pull on your partner, because I saw that was lacking. And to help help that opportunity be more obvious to you, I gave Brian the rule of you can't drop to your knees until you're past your partner's knees. So he had to stay standing in front of you and try to go through and around before he could commit his knees to the floor, which gave you a greater opportunity to actually pull on him with your feet. And I did that to try to highlight the weakness and to give you an opportunity to experience why it might be. And so that's what we did yesterday.
Yeah, and versus what a situational version of that would be a coach saying, all right, guys, let's start and reverse deli or deli and go. Right. That would be situational, right? And I think that's like everyone's big misconception is like, no, but this is so much better than purely situational because it feels so focused. And that would be an example of, I guess for me, would that be an example of a continuous game, or would it be terminal? Because I guess I have to get my partner's hands to touch the mat. So
because if you remember, I gave you a terminal outcome, which was their butt down, but I wanted you to try to put them on his hands as many times as you can. And the reason I gave a counter is so he couldn't just stand up straight. You know what I mean? He couldn't just avoid going forward. And that's why if he hit his butt, it was immediate loss. That constrained him to going forward, because if he hit his butt, it's over.
Right.
But by him coming forward, also gave you greater opportunity to put his hands down. So you see how it was designed to literally highlight the thing that I wanted you to try to work on?
Yes, it was so good. It was really good. It's something that I'm just going to just do.
You should.
No, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to spam it over and over again. Because it made me feel how weak I was in that, how inexperienced I was just in that general area. Or I thought I was kind of good, but then I realized, I'm just inexperienced right there. And it was super, it opened my eyes to my inexperience. So how do you know when an athlete is performing a game properly, and when should you intervene as a coach, or should you ever intervene as a coach? It's a really good question. Like in most of them, I didn't think about this, but he brought it up and I was like, okay, that's a really good. So what is intervention look like, and how do you know an athlete is properly progressing? I don't even know if that's actually a thing.
It's actually a lot there, but it's a really good question. So my view is that intentionality is what I always look for first. So if I set up a condition, a game, a situation, or whatever, and I have students engage, if I can't see intention, if I can't see that both players are going towards the task objectives that we're giving to them, if they're not being intentional, I'll step in. I'll ask them, hey guys, was it clear what you're supposed to do? Do you know what you're trying to accomplish? Okay, yeah, okay, good. They might just be messing up. Okay, keep going, right? If I look a little bit more and they're not staying in the confines, I might say something again. But I have to know the students too. Maybe there's two guys just knuckleheads that come in every day and fuck around. That's fine. If they're those guys, then I might leave them alone. But if they're newer students who are really here to learn, I can see that they're just unsure, then I would step in and try to clarify whatever it is they might be having, or whatever it is they might not be understanding.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it's like, some students, just how as it is, some people literally just come in to fuck around, and it's like, well, what's their intention, right? So it's like, how much can you actually intervene? But for the people who are intending to do the right thing, maybe they're just not understanding it. You just kind of do a quick communication, like, hey, do you know that this is our intention, essentially? Like, I remember, so again, this was like yesterday, maybe it was yesterday, the days are going in my head, like it's getting confusing for me, but one of the games was, I basically cannot hit my knee. Like, I can't touch my knee while passing. And you did a good job. I hit my knee, and you're like, hey, you can't hit your knee. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I didn't realize it. And it was really hard, but it challenged me. It challenged me a lot. And I was like, okay, so, because I feel like I'm pretty experienced, and even I kind of lost a little bit of focus. And I think it was good for me to hear. Also, I think it's like, I didn't know what your coaching looked like. I don't know if that's how you are with everyone, but it was good for me to be like, oh, okay, like you refocused me.
For sure.
And it wasn't, you didn't fucking monologue. You were just like, get off your knees, essentially, you know. And I think it's really good. The next question I was gonna ask was, assuming you have an older person, let's say the person's 60 years old, how do you go about, I guess, so it can be extremely physical, right? That was my number one thing. And I was thinking, okay, if you have an older grappler who's coming in, new or not, it doesn't matter, just an older person, lower ability of cardio, how do you go about making sure, or I guess you can't make sure, but how do you go about helping them pace themselves? It's like a common question, right? It's all live work. People are just gonna die. How do you go about that with, like, let's say an older, less experienced person?
Something I say all the time is we move relative to the demands of the task. And so it's not just the demands of the task, though. It's also demands of the environment. You know what I mean? Who you're with. So if I wanted to control pace, one, if I had a 60-year-old player, I'd put him with another older player. Somebody who's a little bit aged, who doesn't have that movement quality or has low endurance. So they're of a type, and I can stick them together. And they'll understand each other's pain, so to speak, right? Yeah. So it's putting two people psychologically and physically more like each other. So that's the environment. So the demand of that, neither of them have to move too hard, because they're working in a range that both would be able to handle. The second would be the task itself. So if the task, I might lower the complexity or the difficulty of the task to match their energy demands. Okay. So I might lower the time. I might have them do something where they can take a break every time they win. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or just give them the thing, hey guys, look, after you're doing this for a couple of minutes, if you're feeling smoked, you need to stand there for a few seconds and catch your breath, feel free. Okay. You just give them all the freedom in the world to try to engage at whichever level they're capable.
I like that. You're not like bullying them into the keep freaking going, run through a wall.
Bullying a 60-year-old person? Like, what the fuck kind of person?
I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it where it's like, come on, you're being a pussy. Like, keep going. You're like, it's not. That's good. That's really good. It's I like the freedom. It's like the freedom. Like, hey, bro, just take a breather. If you're tired, just take a breather. Slow down.
Yeah, because why does it matter, right? So if I'm going to push somebody into that next level or push them into that level of challenge, I have to know that's directly tied to their goals. If they're not here to be pushed at that pace yet, then I'm not going to push them. I'm going to let them interact at the pace that is relative to them and their goals, right? But if I have a young guy who's 20 years old, he's out there catching his breath, and I know he doesn't need to, or that he may be just feeling his feelings that day, yeah, come on, brother, get out there, do your thing.
That's the difference between being a coach and an instructor to me.
Exactly right. I talk about this all the time. Like everyone thinks they coach, but they don't.
No.
They instruct. They remember John Danaher's moves, or they look at the local YouTube guide and they watch it right before the class, and they come out and they show the 3 most popular moves from the current meta. And they think that's not coaching, man. Coaching is knowing your room. It's knowing your athletes. It's knowing what levers to pull. It's knowing the goal of the room, the goal of the students. It's literally fully committing to your program, not just please the people that are here that day.
100%. That's scary. It's like whenever I open a gym, I don't want to lower my standard. Like I don't want to appeal to the least common, or maybe that's the most common denominator, right? The hobbyist. I don't.
But that doesn't mean you have to lower your standards. You just have to have a place for those people.
Okay.
I think that if in my gym, that's the foundations class.
Right.
That's for just anyone who wants to have a good time, try it, roll a little bit, get some focus, build some skills. But there is no expectation they go any further than that if they don't want to.
Okay.
Then we have the all levels, which raises the ceiling. Then we have the competitive, and raises the ceiling.
Yeah. So I have a very competition. I guess this wouldn't even be centered around CLA, but you're a coach, so that I want to talk about that too, because being a coach is cool, and it's like my dream is to have competitors. How do you focus? Let's say you have an IBJJ coming up, IBJJF coming up. Do you focus your training around strategic IBJJF things? Like, is it like IBJJF strategy, ADCC strategy,
right,
or Zapatero strategy?
So I'm going to reveal something here on camera that I don't even. I mean, people already might know this about me, but I don't strategize and I don't believe in it.
Cool.
Okay, but that's just my personal philosophy.
Yeah.
This is no. I have reasons for this, but again, you shouldn't listen to me probably. No. So our idea is that we want to get as good at the physics as we can. We want to, as a rule set, unconstrain the person and let them learn how to break arms, strangle necks, break legs, hold people down, get off the mat, take the back. We want our students to be able to physically do everything as best they can. And then what we do then, if a tournament's coming up, we just try to match the rule set and the time demands, and we let our students basically express their skills based on their physical ability in that rule set. But we do not strategize for person. We do not strategize for tournament. We will beat you.
Right. It's like, I'm going to be better than you.
I'm going to be better than you.
I really like that, to be honest, because I don't really strategize at all. Yeah. I'm an athlete. I never have strategized. I never do. I'm just like, just kind of like, just trying to win.
For sure.
I also think that maybe I'm wrong. You could tell me you've coached forever, but I think it can lead athletes to overthinking a lot, especially in competition. Like, I have to do this in an ADCC rule set match, or I have to do this in an IBJJ rule set match. I think it's kind of BS. I find it. That's why I asked the question. I was like, because lots of people have different things. Lots of people are like, I have to watch every match of every person. It's like, maybe not. I don't really know the answer. But I personally don't like strategizing. That's the word for it. But that's why I asked. Oh, so last question, and then we'll do the examples. I'll try to create some examples.
Yeah.
What is the most common misconception about CLA for Jiu-Jitsu specifically, and more specifically for you?
Okay. That this is a set it and forget it method.
What's that?
That we just tell somebody something and walk away.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, there are times to say something and leave the room alone. Absolutely. But whatever you say has to be clear, and it has to be relevant to the people in this room. It has to be well tied to the foundational ideas of the constraint-led approach, and it has to be relevant to the grappling game, what actually happens. It's not plug and play. That's the worst misconception that's out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm just going to do this and leave it alone. Greg doesn't coach. Greg just tells his athletes to fight. That's such bullshit.
It's
like
stupid.
if you meet me for 5 minutes and if you take one of my classes, it's clearly not the case.
Yeah.
These just things people say.
I don't know. You didn't make me pay. You just invited me out. I was like, I genuinely, I had no idea what to expect when I came, but then I was like, this is so cool. This is so productive. Especially me and Chris watched your beginner classes and we're like, oh, I could do the beginners classes and get a lot out of it.
Right.
Because I'm still new to Jiu-Jitsu. there's lots of guys who are new. I mean, regardless, because another big dumb thing I hear is this only works for experienced people. Like,
right.
I'm sure you've heard that a lot. This only works if the person's like a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. But you're like, no, bro. Like we were watching brand new white belts do body lock passing, and you never said, hey, we're doing body lock passing. The games were super specific, and I was like, oh, this makes sense to me. It's very technical, and again, for me, it's like the intention is very clear. Whereas sometimes there's like deadpan drilling for me, which I absolutely would rather shoot myself than do. But again, I've told you, I wrestled in college, and it was like the worst thing ever was like the amount of speed drilling when we did. Whereas like you hear a lot of like Japanese, Russian guys are like, we just wrestle a lot. Yeah. Like we do a lot of live wrestling, and obviously it's very different, right? But it's like, I don't know. I find this way to have been productive for me. And of course, someone's gonna be like, well, Brandon, it's because you've. But what can I say? For me, I found it productive, and you were super open-minded about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was gonna say, any other questions? Okay, yeah, last thing.
Before you move on to the last thing, because I wanted to note on that. It's funny what people will say. They'll say, oh, this guy acts like he knows everything. People who use this method think they know everything. But when you come to them and say, oh, I benefited like this, they'll be like, it's just because. It's because you did. It's like, you don't hear that irony? Like you're claiming that we know everything, but you're taking a small bit of information and you're saying that's why Brandon is good. That's why you had the success. Like you think you know that? That's crazy. I don't know why you've had all the success you've had. My guess maybe is that you've committed yourself to your craft and you care about it. Because no matter what method you use, commitment and caring about what you do and having desire to continue are the three essential ingredients that every athlete must have, regardless of the method. So
100%. Like there's the whole idea that like if you throw enough shit on the wall, sometimes it sticks. And a lot of times it's kind of true, right?
Yeah. If you throw it hard, you enjoy throwing shit and you care, a lot of it's gonna stick.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I agree. I think intention, you want to be good and you try to do things that help you get good. I just fucking like this way. And I hated it. I really did. I'm gonna at the beginning of this video whenever I post it, I'm gonna like show me shit talking you and be like, look at, like, I seriously did not like you before. And people are gonna be like, oh bro, you're just like a dick sucker. And I'm like, bro, believe me.
Yeah, this is good.
I am not. But I also am like, I don't know, I wanted to have the balls to come out and train. Like I didn't want to talk shit anymore. I was like, oh fucking, I should go see if I like it. And I loved it. I've only been here for a couple of days. I was like, why is not everyone doing this? This is, for me, it's productive, it's fun.
Well, that's what everyone says. Everyone has almost the same exact thing you have. Nobody leaves here saying anything else.
No.
And that's why I invite people. That's why I say, come for free, man. Just try it. You know, some of the guys that I work with in other sports who are helping me to understand this stuff better, they always say, show your work. Show your work. Show your work. You know, Sean Mishka is a guy I met recently. He's been he's going to be guiding me along, hopefully, and teaching me how to do this better. But, you know, I told him I made a mistake that maybe caused some confusion in the community. He's like, so what? Put it out there. Who cares? That's how it is. Show the world. Show the world. Don't be afraid. I'm like, that's good shit, you know? And that's what you did. You did an example of, I disagreed. Fuck you. Here I am. I tried it. My mind was changed. People need to know that that's okay to do.
Yeah, it's humility. Yeah. It's cool to be humble.